AI will become one of the most important parts of our lives across businesses, personal and family related tasks. Especially in business, this will change the way we work, change the way we interact with colleagues, and what we do as people in the business, whether we are doing or running our own business or as an officer in a company. The challenge though is that we don't really understand how AI can impact our lives, and AI is growing so quickly, almost getting three times better every quarter. So today, the ambition which I have in this course is to really help you understand how AI can be applied in a practical sense in your business. Whether you're running the business or you are somebody who's part of the business looking to be more efficient, utilize AI, artificial intelligence to its most. In this process, I'll talk about different large language models like Chat GPT, Claude. I'll talk about tools like Perplexity, like Microsoft Designer, and several other tools which are used by myself and my colleagues on a daily basis. I'll talk about this mindset called the AI first mindset, where we really focus on making you more efficient and allowing you to really impact your business in what you do in the company and be more efficient. I've already seen that this has saved my company 85% plus in resources and time. Many roles which we had previously have now either become more efficient, or we can actually do without any people physically doing this role. So the team members have been able to evolve and make themselves more efficient over the time. This is just the way this is evolving. This is a fast evolving pace. And so I've divided this course into 3 parts. The first part is explain the concepts of AI, what AI is, how does it impact our lives. Number 2, practical tools you can use today in your life, in your business, in your work to make you more efficient. And finally, talk about case studies. So this is the part where I look at tools and how do we use them more effectively constantly. This course is always in motion, it's fluid because we are constantly seeing innovation happening in AI. So as this course evolves, as AI evolves, this course will evolve as well. And so I'll keep updating this course. If you're looking to kind of get in touch with me, do find me on LinkedIn. I'm Raj Goodman Anand. If you are looking to learn about the latest, I actually post updates which are free of cost on YouTube. Look for Goodman Lantern or just look for AI Raj Goodman Anand and you'll find my videos. Effectively, this is something I want to kind of give back to the community because I believe very strongly about AI, and having done a PhD in AI 20 years back where we didn't have the GPUs or computational power to run the AI algorithms. Today we do, and I feel passionate about sharing this with people who can then use that, utilize that, make themselves more efficient and prepare for the years of innovation to come in AI. This is a constant wheel in motion which is not going to stop, and will just make us in a very different level of work and the kind of work we do in the future. So I hope you find this course useful. If you do, please connect with me and leave your feedback as well. Always very keen to hear from you and learn how to make this course more efficient and more effective. Thank you very much. Enjoy the course. So this part of the course where I'm going to talk a little bit about what is AI and why is it important for us? How is AI formed? And it really help us understand the basics of AI because it's really helpful to comprehend how AI was built and what's the purpose of AI. AI is not like another algorithm. AI is not like a software you can build whereby you can just kind of put if or else conditions where most programs in the past have been built. AI is real intelligence, and to understand that concept is really important. How AI has been built around the human brain and the neurons. In fact, when you program AI, we talk about neurons and we talk about how we're building neurons, for example, within AI. The easiest definition of AI, in my opinion, is human brain put into a machine run at scale and on steroids. That for me is AI, artificial intelligence as it were. And so we'll talk about this today in this course. Before we jump into that, I'll talk a little bit about who am I, what I do, and my current ventures, for example, so you understand the background and why I do these courses and why is it for free. And so hopefully you find some value in this, and I look forward to your thoughts. Let's dive into it. Firstly, introduce myself. My name is Raj Goodman Anand. I'm the founder and CEO of Goodman London. We are a content organization which is focused on human innovation. You'll notice that a lot of our work is by humans for humans. And as AI is embarking and growing in this space, I still believe human touch is super important. As we'll learn in the later on in the course, that a lot of the AI is programmed by human beings. It's really important that the input we provide as human beings is done in the right way, and then the black box, which is the AI, will do its magic, followed by an output which has to be, at least for the next few years, thoroughly checked by someone who's an expert, an SME, subject matter expert, who can then edit it, view it, quality assurance. It's a bit like a factory where when you're looking to create a new mold, somebody has to physically go there and create that mold, and then later on in that journey, when the output is created by the machine, it is then checked by a real human being in the form of a quality assurance person, or to make sure that everything is in the right way. So I recommend that every time we look at using AI, there is human beings in the loop to make this a more effective way of creating content or other stuff using AI. A big part about Goodman Lantern is that we are a company which is about being inclusive, diverse, and empowering. My focus as a business owner is to empower women, technology and marketing, so much so that we're 80% plus women on 4 continents, which serve hundreds of customers. So I'm an engineer by profession with a PhD in AI, which I didn't actually finish because I started my first startup. And then since then, I've founded 3 startups, raised capital, and have taken one venture from zero to acquisition. A big part of this is dedicated to my lovely wife, who actually survived a cancer, a very hard ordeal with cancer. She went through several chemos and radiations, uh, radiotherapy, and that was something which changed my life completely. And a big part of me since then has been around giving and to really help change and make an impact. And so these courses are free to really add value for people to learn from it and can grow their own future, because it's so important for me to make a mark and to have leave a legacy. I hope this course is one in many things that I'll do to help others. All right, learning objectives. Throughout this course, I will talk about a lot of different videos, content, tools, and I will provide them, and I'll provide these links to you as part of it. But it'll be very obvious from the course itself that these links are available to different tools. Most of the tools I talk about are free to use, and there's definitely, in fact, all of them have a free version for sure. Most of them will have a completely free version as well for usage, and some features will not be present in them, but then there has to be an upgrade. But I would say 80% plus is for free. Another thing to mention is I wrote a book on AI, it's called The AI Era, Adapting and Thriving. The book is around the Industrial Revolution and today's Industrial Revolution, which is AI. I compare how things will be in the future based on the insights from the Industrial Revolution for modern businesses. And you'll notice that is a fair comparison because a lot is happening in the space of AI, and there's only one thing I can see so far which has a similar impact, in the 18th, 19th century, which is the augmentation of machines, and how that changed people from moving from living in their homes, farms, small villages, small towns, to moving to big cities, big towns, working in factories. And perhaps today what we're seeing is they move back from big cities into smaller towns and cities, because as AI comes into our lives, perhaps we won't need require to be in a factory like scenario or in an office. Remote working is already a big part of since COVID, and the adoption is just continuing. So we will see a move back to sort of where we began from, potentially villages and small towns, and AI helping our journey throughout this time. So let's dive into the objectives for this course. Number one is current trends and advancements in AI. Number two is practical tips and tools for integrating AI into businesses. I want to specify these are practical tips. I'm not talking about theoretical stuff, because that's available everywhere. It doesn't actually help business people. The aim really is to create practical tips and tools throughout this course. The first part, though, will be about theoretical stuff, just to kind of help you understand what makes AI AI. So it'll be a step-by-step guide on how to begin integrating AI into your business. One of the biggest real-world AI impacts using Goodman Anderson's AI journey, which is basically my company, and how did AI help us in our growth journey, and that I'll share with you at the end as well. And then for the resources, and then if you're doing this as a workshop, or if you want to do this on your own, I recommend having a discussion and interactive segment to take this journey further. Right. So what is AI? As I defined earlier, AI enables machines to mimic human intelligence. Think of it like a human brain augmented in a machine, or, for example, with a computing power, which your brain can be mimicked. It is a, a big, massive change, because what we're creating here is similar to teaching a kid how to distinguish between, say, an apple and an orange. How do we train the child? Well, having a child myself who's now 3 years old, a big part of training her to know about the variety is to give examples. So typically, to kind of give example between different distinguish between a cat or a dog, give a lot of pictures, or point out a lot of dogs and cats, and explain to her the distinction between the two animals. And then over time, by asking questions, by getting it wrong and correcting her, she was able to distinguish between a dog and a cat. In a similar way, AI is trained using examples. We look at multiple sources of data, we provide the AI, and then AI teaches itself the distinction between a cat and a dog. What's interesting is that if you change the example that you give of a dog or a cat, it will be able to distinguish even if the picture was not used in the training material. So it's actually learned and it's become intelligent enough to distinguish between a dog and a cat based on the early examples it received. And this, in many ways, is similar to the human mind. Once you understand the distinguish between a cat and a dog, or say, for example, an apple or an orange, you then learn how to distinguish between these two animals, and you can also perhaps tell if the animal is a cat or a dog, or if it's something completely different. And that's what we are doing with AI. We train it on multiple things so we can distinguish between them, and then over time we can predict what the next steps are. And if you look at the augmentation of Chat GPT and other tools, you can predict the next word or next sentence, for instance, in the back of it being trained to understand, adapt, and then create content for you. And that's what makes AI different. This is very different to a program like, say, an Uber app, for example, or Instagram application. These are these are all predefined programming source code. Whereas in the case of AI, it hasn't been pre-programmed. It's been trained to distinguish between things and then give an intelligent answer. The only example I can think of right now and people use in the AI community is the brain, and it actually is mimicking the human brain. In AI, when we look at AI, we look at four different areas, and again, this could be distinguished in different ways. Number one is computer vision, the ability, and I'm going to talk about this in a second, computer vision, robotics, natural language processing, and machine learning, which has deep learning and neural networks as part of it. So, machine learning is the ability of the machine to learn from data without explicit programming. What I mean by that is that there are there's data being provided, like I mentioned before, the example of cat and a dog. Has been data being provided to mention what's a cat, what's a dog. In the back of that, it has learned what a cat or a dog is. Neural networks is algorithms that recognize and classify patterns. So neural networks is where if you give it, now that you've trained it, then identify the animal on the back of that. Next thing is deep learning. Deep learning uses layered neural networks for complex data analysis. So for example, once you train how to go from, say, point A to point B in a maze, you can then use a much more complex maze, and the AI can then recognize how to go from point A to point B in that more complicated maze. If that maze is really complicated and requires multiple forms of learning, that's sort of a stacked neural network in place. And then using the deep learning and deep analysis, it can then come up with solution to that particular problem. The next thing is NLP, or natural language processing. This enables machines to understand and generate human language. So when you look at Chat GPT, for example, when you talk to it, it talks to you not in ones and zeros, but in English or Arabic or Spanish or Japanese. The ability for the machine to understand and generate human language is where NLP comes into play. And when you look at tools like Chat GPT, it uses both machine learning as well as NLP to generate and understand instructions. Next is computer vision. Computer vision simply allows machines to interpret visual data, often used, for example, in the case of, say, Tesla. Tesla uses computer vision to understand a path. And when they have obstructions as the car drives, it can then tell you if that's a human or not, it's a barrier or not, and then it can then instruct the car to go in a particular way. Stop, go faster, go slower, or maneuver the car in order to keep the car and the object approaching clear and safe. Finally, we have robotics. Robotics is design and operations of autonomous machines, robots. Obviously, this is the next step in the evolution of machines, where we'll see not only software in the form of intelligent software like LLMs like ChatGPT, Claude, Pi, etc., but also in the form of robots, which will allow us to be more autonomous and allow machines to help us on a daily basis. So the current trends, if you look at them, the one big one right now is generative AI. Generative AI simply enables creation of new data that resembles a given data set. So once you are able to, in the previous example, distinguish between a cat and a dog, you're able to give the features and ability to draw as a tool. You can then also create these images for cats and dogs as well. And with AI, what it's doing typically is it's predicting the next step, the next word, the next line, the next sentence, the back of what's already been trained. And that constant ability to get the next step allows it to then create the whole sentence, paragraph, or image. Another thing which is really important, which we'll see more and more so in the coming years, is hyper automation. So automate businesses and IT process completely. So will the ability to create bots at some point will be possible to have a bot which can do the entire marketing function at your company. That means that you can actually allow your marketing team to look at more high level instructions and the actual day-to-day execution. For example, managing your SEO, what keywords to write, writing the article itself, managing Google Analytics, for instance, all that can be done by a bot. And that is the future of where we're going with AI as we build and perfect the art of building intelligent AI. AI also has a very big role to play in customer service. In the future, we'll see chatbots and virtual assistants to enhance customer experience, and that will happen at scale. As we're already seeing, tools like Chat GPT, OpenAI can build some very smart bots, integrating third-party tools and directly as well. For instance, there's several good examples of Zapier, which is a plug-and-play tool which can work very well with OpenAI to create chatbots for your website. Number two here is AI for good, tackling societal issues like healthcare, poverty, and climate change. Recently, in an interview with Bill Gates, he was very bullish about healthcare and how healthcare is already being massively disrupted thanks to AI. Where AI can spot trends. The important part in AI is artificial. The important word there is intelligence. It has the intelligence to find patterns, recognize patterns through neural networks, and then find out challenging observations which human beings cannot because of the sheer size of the data. AI is really good at doing that. And so it can help us with healthcare, poverty, and climate change. In the future, in the words of Sam Altman and Elon Musk, there is a possibility that human beings don't have to actually work, that they will be perhaps basic universal income, and bots will be able to do all the tasks we currently take on. And this is probably not going to happen tomorrow. It might take a good 5 to 10 years to achieve that, but that's around the corner, as it were, if we look at the grand scheme of things. And so that will change how we perceive food production, poverty, and how can we change that through AI. Finally, on this slide, you see AI and cybersecurity, how AI will be used for real-time monitoring and threat detection. This is a phenomenal area because as we see more clever algorithms and AI, we also allow others, say the 3% people who are perhaps using AI for not very positive things, will see maybe more cybersecurity issues, more cyber attacks. And AI can do a great job not only creating these issues, but also solving them as well. All right, so let's look at the a step-by-step guide on how to make a company AI first, which is what I call the AI first philosophy. The first thing in that is to prioritize AI as a primary solution processes and decision making. Many a times we hear about AI in daily lives, on perhaps on YouTube, on the news, newspapers, several blogs, articles talking about it. But there's a shift required in our mindset today, which is to prioritize AI as a primary solution. We should put processes in place to allow every problem to be first solved by AI. And if AI can't solve it, then comes the next in line, perhaps human beings. And that is a very important philosophy as we embark into the coming years, because AI is going to become super important and super clever and has the ability to solve real complex problems. So adopting an AI first philosophy is paramount for every company in order to be relevant in the future. Number two is promote AI literacy and training. It's strongly advised to invest in training to improve team members' understanding of AI technologies. What's happening today is that as AI is coming into play, teams are using AI on their own accord. They're kind of working on their own ways to learn about AI, and many times bosses don't even know that it's happening in the company. Whereas the focus of this AI-centric culture is to invest in training to improve team members and the ability to use AI. The more they use AI, the more they will actually 3x, 4x, or even 10x themselves by being more efficient. I've seen in my team that my teams are approximately 5x more efficient on the back of using AI. And every team has been given a ability to kind of go and learn more, and they get trained regularly on this. Next thing is encouraging experimentation. So fostering a culture of innovation and exploration with AI tools and platforms. The more we allow our team to innovate, perhaps fail initially, and then learn from their mistakes and teach everybody else as well what they've learned, the more we will become efficient using AI tools. This is a must because in the coming years, the company, the people, the management which adopts AI into their workflow will emerge as the winner. The ones who don't will become irrelevant very soon. 2023 December, Bill Gates said that in 18 months' time, most developed economies will adopt AI at a very rapid pace. It's a bit like using the dot-com boom in the 2000s. Some companies initially were not really bullish about technology and digital and internet. And then in the next few years' time, you start to see almost every company having emails and using online websites, for example, to get more sales, get more opportunities, and that adoption is going to happen again with AI. Number 4 is provide access to AI tools. Establish paid accounts for team on recommended AI platform tools. So what's happening today is that many of the team members don't have paid accounts. So they're using, for example, the case of today, for example, Chat GPT 3.5 is available for free, but 4 and 4 Turbo are not. And teams are still using the previous versions, whereas $20 of investment per month can make them perhaps 2x more efficient because 4.5 is perhaps 4x to 6x better than 3.5. If that is the case, why don't we all invest in $20 to make sure that every team member has access to the best tools on ChatGPT? Same thing exists also, for example, on Canva. And all these different tools really help to be more efficient. All right, now I'll stop there, and this is the first part of the section where I talk about the theoretical parts of why AI-centric culture is super important within the company. Number 2, I talked about what AI is and what is not, and what are different areas of AI. Hope you found this section useful. Next, now we'll go into the section where we will actually review what AI can do and what the practical application of AI today in business. Viewing what AI is, the next steps in the process is to see the practical use of AI. How can we use AI in practical sense within our daily lives at work and business? And so now I'm going to dive right into the presentation, going to the different tools I use on a daily basis to make my life more efficient and make it such that these tools can do bulk of my work right through from creating content, image, anything from marketing, for example. These tools have made my team and my life so much easier. So let's dive right into it and let's go through the examples of how we can do this. The first example, which I'm confident that most people have used and come across, is Chat GPT. It is one of the most popular tools in AI for most people. And in November 2022, most people saw what AI can really do and were introduced to AI through ChatGPT. And just want to mention, ChatGPT is a tool produced by OpenAI. OpenAI founded and run by Sam Altman and his team. And it's a phenomenal tool to do a variety of things. A big part of this is obviously text-based. So what you enter and request ChatGPT, the answers are based on that. The prompting, which is the input of text, is a very important part of what you get out from it. So prompting techniques and prompt frameworks are super important. And later on in the presentation, I'll go through different prompt frameworks to make you more efficient and to be able to generate good results for you. I also want to mention that it's not only getting the answer from OpenAI and Chat GPT, but also in the format you require. For example, in most cases, I like to create the output in tabular format or table format just to make sure that I can quickly scan and get the information in a way that can be easily utilized by me. So I prefer tables to paragraphs. These kind of prompt frameworks are super important. The more you play with them, the more you learn about these prompting frameworks. The next tool is Perplexity AI. Perhaps you haven't come across this tool, perhaps you use it already. This is one of the most phenomenal tools for research. So one of the functionality of ChatGPT, which released a few months back, was real-time search. Real-time search basically allows ChatGPT to kind of go into Bing and do real-time search on the back of what we entered. Perplexity does a phenomenal job at that. The real-time searches on Perplexity are far quicker. And also it has something called Copilot, which means that it can do parallel processing of multiple, call it bots for lack of a better word, to go out and do the search for you. The answers are much quicker to generate and it analyzes real-time data much faster. I believe this is one of the strongest tools in the market today for online research. And I believe if you are in the space of looking and using AI for research purposes, Perplexity AI is a phenomenal contender in that space. There's a large language model. It does use ChatGPT 3.5 for as a base for its search. Next one is Claude. Claude is a tool similar to ChatGPT, probably OpenAI's biggest competitor in the market alongside with Google Bard. Now, the tool is phenomenal because it can take 200,000 tokens. That's pretty much a Harry Potter book as an input, as opposed to 100,000 tokens, which is, say, about 100,000 or 100 to 120,000 words of ChatGPT. So you can enter much bigger prompts. It will have a much bigger memory, for example, and that means that it can actually be used to do some more complex problems where you have to sort of store data or tell the data to ChatGPT or the large language model like Claude to then solve your problems. So the context window and the memory, as it were, is much bigger in the case of Claude AI versus ChatGPT. And I just make the point clear by showing that this has 200,000 words or 200,000 tokens, which is 257,000 words can take as an input, which is over multiple prompts, as it were. Next one is 10web. So say, for example, you are in the space of you're looking to develop a website. And often at times we look at a competitor's website or a website where we'll inspire or get inspired from. This website can create the exact replica of that website using WordPress. And you just have to do is enter the URL of the company, and it will build the website for you, which you can then customize further, hosted on 10web.io. So great tool to kickstart the journey of building a website similar to a third-party site, for instance, and then edit it to fit your needs. Next one is Framer. This tool is used to create website as well, but the main point behind this is that you can actually go ahead and describe your first page in the section below, and it will then create a website. So for example, you want to create a quick website for your cafe. You can just enter, I would like to create a cafe in London, which is which is a pioneer at cookies or makes awesome cookies, and then it will then create a cafe focused on cookies, for example, and you can showcase your website. So a much quicker start to get the colors for you, the content for you, the website ready for you. So again, the aim of AI here is to make your life easier and faster. Next one is Opus, and I'll talk about this again in our case studies. But Opus allows you to take a long video on YouTube and then create a set of viral shorts. Shorts, as you might know, is a under a minute long videos which summarize or is a small snippet or longer video. A great way to do that is because not only creates the short form video for you, but also adds captions to it as well. So as the person or the video it has words, it summarizes them as captions on top of the video. The way it kind of finds the right videos and then adds the caption is phenomenal. Has saved my team a ton of time in creating shorts for ourselves. Next one is Browse AI. This is more of a technical tool, but I suggest that every business should use it. The use case of this tool really is to extract and monitor data from any website. Say, for example, you are looking to capture data from competitors' website to see latest products they are launching so that you are informed about it constantly. Well, you can put Browse AI as a tracker on the site, and as they launch new products, you get informed. Or if they update the prices, you get informed as well. So there are multiple use cases of this scraper, which can be used on your competitor's website or your own website to keep you informed. So the use cases are to build an API. So for example, you want to make sure that you can extract data from a website and then provide this as an input to build programming languages. Then that's where API comes into place. APIs is a sort of a conduit or a type of data which you can put into a third-party website to talk to it to then build stuff on it. For example, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, all these tools have an API. So you can extract the data from these sites and then use it for different purposes, as building a tool, a SaaS tool, or to bring that data onto your site. Similarly, you can make any website an API by allowing it to query that particular language or the website and then give answers for it, which earlier was a real challenge. Similarly, as I gave the example earlier, price monitoring, product data extraction, product monitoring, real estate data collection. So as sites like Zoopla update, you can then get the information back to yourself. Zoopla being a site around real estate in the UK. Similarly, other sites you can keep track of them as well. Also, lead generation as well. Lead generation can be used in the form of, if for example you get a comment on your YouTube account, or you get a government website where there are email addresses available for contractors or contract issuing officers, then it will allow you to get that data straight into your inbox. Finally, sentiment analysis in social media, especially when you get comments or you get interactions, you can gauge what the interactions are and then be able to react to it. If you know the sentiment is overall positive or negative, if it's negative, it can then alert you and then you can react to it faster. So Browse AI is a great tool for scraping and then building some very clever logic behind it. The next tool is Doctopus. Doctopus is an awesome tool to create really, really quick presentations. Like the previous tool we used called Framer, this tool is used to create presentations. All you have to do is enter, for example, help me make a presentation on what is AI. And this will help you then make a whole presentation with the content and the design ready to go. Ideal when you're looking to create some quick presentation on generic topics, which you can then edit and modify later on. Next one is Bing Images. Bing Images uses DALL-E 3, which is part of OpenAI. It's as simple as entering a prompt. It could be, for example, create me an image of a cat currently on a wall with in a in a in Houston or in London, and then it will make that image for you of a cat, maybe in a city sort of atmosphere. And this tool is available for free and allows you to create some really clever and good images at very high quality. Again, all depends on the prompt you enter. You can get the information from that as well. But The good news is that the same DALL-E 3, which is the latest version of DALL-E, again, this will, I'm pretty confident this is going to be updated to DALL-E 4 very soon. As you can do that in Bing, can also be done directly into your Chat GPT account as well. You can now just enter the prompt into Chat GPT paid version, and it can make you a image straight away without actually having going to a different site. The next tool is another Microsoft tool, which is called designer.microsoft.com. This is a competitor of Canva, and it can help you create stunning designs on the go. So if, for example, you want to take an image, which is a small image, you expand it, and it will then create the surroundings as you expand the image and what might be there apart from the image you already gave it. It can remove, for instance, as you can see here, I can remove images of this person here, for instance. It can add text to images, create greeting cards for you. So effectively, it's a free version of Canva, and it's again possible thanks to OpenAI and DALL-E. This is again part of AI, OpenAI as well. The next tool is called Runway ML. Runway is a tool to create videos at speed. I must confess that at this point in time, the videos are not of the highest ability. For example, if you have team members in a picture, you want to animate those pictures, you can do it, but it gets the faces wrong. For other objects, though, it does a pretty good job too. For example, if you have a boat on in the sea and you want to animate the sea, it will do a phenomenal job at making the waves in the sea, for example. So a great tool, again available for free, and there's a paid version for longer videos in this tool. And recently, Runway has introduced text to speech, which does it in phenomenal ways, because it has various accents and genders available. It does a very good job at doing American, British, and Australian accents. So if you require to create voice from text, this is a great tool. Obviously used for instances like explainer videos or narrating something which is in a video format. The next tool is Stability AI's Clip Drop, very similar to the designer.microsoft.com, primarily used to edit images. So for example, it is a feature called uncrop, like I mentioned earlier. It can, in Microsoft Designer, this tool can also make the image bigger and predict what else might be around that image. You can make images. You can sketch images out, and it will then draw it for you. So there's some functionality in here which can be really helpful to create images, which can then be used for third party, as well as say real estate or image editing functionality. Next tool is Firefly. Firefly is a great tool to do what Adobe does, but without any coding or experience in using Photoshop-like tools. You can edit images. For example, you can change the the patterns in the clothes of the person in there. It can change it can add textures to a surface. It can remove backgrounds, for instance. You can see the pattern here. There are multiple tools doing something similar, just editing images at scale, and not only editing the images to say, for example, in the background, but also adding bits which are consistent with the rest of the image as well. These kind of functionality you'll see much more of in many of the tools as you go further. Again, this is a free tool as well from Adobe called Firefly Adobe. The next one is Midjourney. Midjourney is probably one of the pioneers in creating images. The one issue though is that Midjourney requires you to use a third-party tool in order to use Midjourney. It makes it a little bit difficult sometimes for non-technical users. I must say the process is very easy, and using the third-party tool called Discord should not be a problem. And as it happened, there are rumors that Midjourney is going to soon launch a thing called Midjourney Alpha, where you can edit images and create images directly from the web page without actually having to go to Discord, the third-party tool. The latest version of Midjourney is called Midjourney version 6, was released in December 2023 as a phenomenal improvement on what's available out there in version 5. It probably is one of the best tools right now for image generation. Images are very realistic. They are they are done to a very high standard, and they are high resolution as well. So if you're serious about making images, Midjourney is your friend. Next one is called Pi. Pi is a great tool for a series of different things. Large language model as well raises a lot of money from investors. It's used ideally for brainstorming ideas, keeping a journal, making a plan, talking to the AI as a friend, reading a story, and just venting. Now, I must say, all this functionality is now available through OpenAI's Chat GPT as well. If you open the Chat GPT tool, is in your mobile phone or your iPad, you will notice that that functionality is now available in there as well. The conversation back and forth with Chat GPT, which you can get by clicking on the headphones icon, the bottom right hand side of ChatGPT, is a phenomenal tool. I've spent about one afternoon, I spent actually the whole day, about 7 hours, just talking to ChatGPT's voice tool, and it's so natural. It feels like talking to a real person. It's sympathetic. The way it talks is like a natural human being, and it can give some great answers. And in that way, I spent once whole Sunday talking and discussing about the future of AI, challenges with my life, business, and it could give me some great answers and a great way to brainstorm ideas as well. Another tool is called Fathom AI. Fathom AI is used to record, transcribe, and highlight key moments on Zoom calls, on team calls, and Microsoft Teams, as well as Google Meets. And it is a great tool not only because it can do the transcription and summaries with AI, but also record the videos as well for future use. And just to kind of put out there, I'm also an investor in this company as well. But this is genuinely a great tool, hence I'm recommending it. Finally, a tool I came across recently called HeyGen. HeyGen takes existing video of you, or a couple of minutes long video of you, and then by just entering text, you can record a whole video, a talking head video of yourself or anybody else. What's interesting is that it really makes your life easier and your team's life easier if you're not available to record, for instance. And I find that very useful because many a times I struggle to find the time to record a launch of a product, and I wish my team could just do it for me, but they obviously have to then record themselves. And if I want to do it as an individual myself, I found that HeyGen is a great tool to use my 2 minutes long video to then generate n number of videos for n number of minutes using just text. And if I must say one more thing, that if you are somebody without a native American, British, or Australian accent, you might struggle with it. In that scenario, you just record your voice and upload the recording of your voice, and it will then generate a whole talking head video of you in a very natural way. I feel this is one of the better tools out there to create effortless studio quality videos with AI, avatars, and voice. Now that the tools and what they can do for us, the next step is to look at the case studies of where can we use these tools more effectively. Throughout the previous part of the tools introduction, I did mention a few case studies, but now I'm going to go a bit deeper and look at the practical case studies of where can we use these tools to make our lives more efficient and effective. I also will end this section by looking at chat prompt frameworks. So prompt frameworks can really make your life easier by looking at ways to be able to get large language models like ChatGPT to do a better job for you. So I'll introduce that to you at the end of this. Well, I hope you find this last section useful and efficient for your work, business, or family or personal stuff as well. Study. The first one obviously would be Chat GPT. ChatGPT being one of the most widely used AI in the sort of retail space, as it were. Most people understand ChatGPT now. It's a tool by OpenAI. One of the things I use ChatGPT for is, for example, to role play. For instance, recently we raised some money for a product we were building, and the entire presentation, the entire mindset, the evaluation, the procedures, everything was done through ChatGPT. But also, when we built the presentation, we uploaded it to ChatGPT to get its view. And to do that, we allocated a role to ChatGPT when we start the thread and we ask it then different questions. And we've seen that this allows for ChatGPT to do a much better job. And the same principles apply for any other large language model as well, whether it is an open source one produced by Facebook or a proprietary one by Claude. All these have a similar way of doing things. The idea really is to do role playing with these tools. Number two is using tools like ChatGPT as a UX and UI editor, auditor, and get some feedback from it. Now, notice that in the current version, in the beginning of 2024, late 2023, the ChatGPT is not a phenomenal job. It doesn't do a phenomenal job in producing user interface and user experience for websites. So it doesn't get a good image which can be used for UX and UI or the interface for the website. But it can do a great job at analyzing your current website and give you feedback on what can you improve, whether it is the usability, whether it is the text used, for example, the shades of color, the usability framework, for example, on your website. All these things can be done using ChatGPT. All you have to do is take a picture or a screenshot of your website or web page and put it in. Next one is called Glasp. Now, within the ChatGPT interface, you can do several things, but also you can do things outside ChatGPT interface as well. So one of the tools I use is called Glasp. It is a Chrome extension for YouTube. You can enter Glasp into your, it's a free tool to actually download and use. And what it does is that it gives you the transcription of the YouTube video, and then you can click a button for that transcription to then go automatically to ChatGPT through a click of a button, and then it summarizes it and describes it. Now, this is the way I kind of save my time, is by if I get a video to be watched by a colleague or a friend or a family, I'll first summarize the video to see if it's worth my time. And if it's just a quick summary, I will just go ahead and do that. But then if it requires me to watch the video because the video is really interesting, then I'll go ahead and watch the whole video. But this way of summarizing, looking at the video is a great way to save time. If you're watching an hour-long video, you get a summary in a few seconds, maybe a couple of minutes, and then you can dive deeper into the parts which are interesting. And what I typically do is when I get the entire transcript into ChatGPT, I also ask questions like, which are the parts of the video which I should definitely see? Then it tells me the time at which I should go forward to, which is really interesting. Often I ask the question like, what information in this video is contrarian? And then finding the section which is contrarian, you can check out those sections and then get a quick overview of what's interesting. Number 4 is financial data. There's a time when I'll send all the information I require for financial inputs and analysis to a bookkeeper or accounts person. In the last few months, I've found a way to avoid that expensive process. What I do is I take the latest information from tools like QuickBook or an Excel sheet, also convert it to a CSV format. I then copy paste that information from a CSV file. It's just a text file into ChatGPT. Now all the data is available in ChatGPT. I then ask it to manipulate the data. For example, create a P&L statement in a tabular format. Create a forecast based on the current data. All these different kind of things which will usually require someone who's an expert in this space. I can now do that in ChatGPT. I can then ask it to create in the data into tabular format and copy paste that across to Excel, and it will maintain the rows and columns. So it can then be used directly into an Excel sheet for further sharing or editing. Or we can ask ChatGPT to convert it into a CSV format, copy that the entire CSV format text into a notepad, and then save it as a CSV file. Then we upload it to an Excel sheet. All in all, the idea behind this is to use ChatGPT to do data analysis, financial analysis, and with the advanced analytics feature in ChatGPT, it can do a pretty good job. Now, as OpenAI launches new versions of this tool, we'll see even further analysis possible and more accuracy. I found it to be very accurate, but sometimes it does get a little bit sort of short of the mark, and so I feel in the coming months to get even much more precise and accurate. Next one is creating graphs. So recently I had a task where I had to create a procedure of how I run a department. In that I created multiple procedures. One of them was, for example, how to run new clients onboarding. What I did for that was I created a document by just narrating to it using the microphone button on ChatGPT app. I narrated what I'm looking for, and then what I did was asked it to create a document in the back of that. Document was created. I edited the document, and then I asked it to create an image to depict the procedure in a sort of a flowchart format, and did a phenomenal job at doing that. It the ChatGPT tool now can also create images, but also diagrams as well using Python. Uh, that's the advanced analytics process, and also can draw, for example, images. This image is the map of the UK, and I've asked it to point out places with the highest population in the UK. You can see how it's put blue dots across the map of the UK, and these kind of diagram creation is now a part of the standard package of the upgraded version of ChatGPT as well. Number 6 is a tool called 11 Labs. I use it for two purposes. One is to clone my own voice. Now it does a alright job at that. I wouldn't say it's super accurate, but it does a pretty okay job. And number two is to do voiceovers. So text to voice, a bit like runwayml.com. It can also do it text to voice, and that can be used to create courses, make videos for describing new products and new services we launch as a descriptive video. So a great tool to be used to make naturally sounding voice. Next one is, as I mentioned before in my earlier section, Opus creates shorts from long videos. You can take a long video on YouTube and then create shorts with all the different parts. First of all, identifying which parts of the video are useful, and it will make a great short. And number two is having captions on all the videos as well. Right. Number 8 is Canva. Canva has several AI features now part of it, come standard and available in the free version as well. One of the challenges which I had was that I'm not very good at photo shoots. I don't do many of them. And then I had one photo shoot I did in London by Tower Bridge, which meant that all my images had the same clothes. And so I asked ChatGPT asked Canva to make new jackets or new clothes for me. And so using my earlier image, I could just highlight the part where I need to edit and create new clothes, and it can do a great job at creating new clothes for me. As you can see, there's a St. Patrick's jacket there and a brand new shirt. And so all in all, it does a great job at sort of making images and also refining and defining and editing the images for particular sections of the image. Right. The next one is Google's Bard. I didn't talk much about it in the tools because the functionality has been average. The latest version of Bard seems to be promising. One feature, though, which I feel is phenomenal about Bard is the ability to take and connect Bard with Google Workspace. So if you are a company which uses Workspace, you can now connect Bard with it, and you can then query your emails. For example, I could say, hey, find me all the emails from Joey based in Houston. Now summarize all the chats I've had with Joey so far, and then then I can say, look to find if Joey's phone number is in any of the emails. So it will do all the answering without me having to actually go physically to the Google account. Obviously, you first connect your Google account with Bard. Number two, I can ask it to do is to identify where is Joy staying the next few months, if that was mentioned in the email, and then using Google Flights, booking me flights and then also hotels as well in the area, and then finding me, for example, a good burger place or a good restaurant in the neighborhood as well. So it can do all these different things for me, and I find that to be super helpful because it just cuts short a lot of time searching for stuff on tools like Google, for instance. Right. So I talked about Bing Images and how we can use it to create images using DALL-E 3, which is built into the Bing Images. And basically what it does is it makes stock photos like Shutterstock a little bit redundant. As I hear now, many of these stock image companies are now launching their own AI tools, so you can produce your own stock images from it. I talked about Glasp already. It's a Chrome extension used to summarize and get transcripts from YouTube videos. Okay, a big part of Chat GPT, like tools like large language models, is that they're going to put a lot of software businesses out of business because they are so good at doing multiple things. One of them is called OCR, optical character recognition. So you have an image with text. Say you go around to Japan and you want to read what's in Japanese and translate it into English. All you have to do is take a picture from your camera, upload a Chat GPT, and then ask it to transcribe it for you. And that idea of OCR, optical character recognition, means that you don't have to pay a fee for a separate app to do the OCR for you, or there's a high cost to use the APIs for OCR. Now that can all be done through ChatGPT natively. Similarly, tools like Grammarly, which we spent a lot of money on in the last few months, we have unsubscribed for all our team members because ChatGPT does a phenomenal job at writing content correctly, and so we don't need a third-party tool like Grammarly to check our content and edit it. I already mentioned the use case of Bard in looking through emails in our using Bard and Google Workspace, and similarly, there'll be more use cases like this in their latest version called Gemini, which is released in December 2023. Then there will be many other ways as well this will be used. Right. One of the other use cases which I have a case study, which I think is super important, is before I go into a meeting with a prospect customer or a team member, I like to analyze their LinkedIn profiles. So what I do is I get my team to copy paste the entire LinkedIn profile, put in ChatGPT to get, as you can see on the right hand side, analysis of who they are, what they do, and were they endorsed by, and what is what relevant to me. Also look at the interactions and engagement on LinkedIn. So their comments, their likes, and analyze that to see what they're interested in. This kind of interaction and searching on and analyzing on LinkedIn of LinkedIn content to ChatGPT allows us to figure out what can be done through ChatGPT, and also it allows us to really understand the personality and build camaraderie in the meeting itself. So I recommend everyone to kind of try out this process to go ahead and analyze LinkedIn profiles before a sales call or before a recruitment call. It can really help to get to know the person a little better before the call actually happens. Right, now we'll jump into the top 5 prompting frameworks to make you even more efficient on any large language model like ChatGPT. The first one is called RTF, Role Task Format. So I'll read out the prompt for you in the example and you can see what it's doing. So act like a chef. So that chef is the role who has 30 years experience in cooking. Can you give me a weekly plan with the purpose of losing weight? That's the task. The format is in a tabular format. So in this way, you can actually save yourself prompting ChatGPT like tool several times. In just one prompt, you can create the whole requirement. Next one is chain of thought. This one is basically the context is that the more times, the more you can break down the steps of ChatGPT into pieces, into smaller steps, the more you can observe it and then correct it before it goes into a tangent. A big part of tools like ChatGPT and large language models is that they hallucinate. But if you know where they're hallucinating, you can actually stop it there and edit that part to get the overall answer correct. So in this case, what you do is I'm going to read the example for you, and you can see how this is different. The example is I want to go on a 300-mile road trip. My car's mileage is 20 miles per gallon and gas costs $3 per gallon. How much will the trip cost? Let's think step by step. This last step, last function of let's think step by step, breaks down all the ChatGPT's functionality into smaller steps. So you can see where there might be a challenge and then fix that for yourself. The next framework is called Risen. Role is the role of the ChatGPT, instructions, steps, end goal, and narrowing the constraints. So the role in this could be you are a business strategist with expertise in integrating automation in various business operations. Your main task is to please write a in-depth expose about the purpose of automation in modern business. And then you have the steps there. Then you have the goal there. Goal is supposed to inform people on why exactly automation is so important. And constraints is basically no hashtags, no emojis, max defined words. All these bits put together means that you can easily replicate your success with ChatGPT with your teams. We can create this kind of framework and save it in your Notion files or somewhere where your team can copy and be inspired from. Also, this allows you to just prompt one time instead of multiple times to get your data and answers correct. The next one is very similar, called roads. And roads, the main difference between this and Risen is that with roads, you have an example as well. So the role is there, the instructions are there as objectives, the details are there step by step. In this case, you have examples as well. Below are a couple of examples of tweets that have gone viral on the topic. Discipline, what makes you extraordinary, and then sense check to make sure that they actually understood. So, do you understand the objective and specific guidelines for this task? This way, you can double check that ChatGPT or the other large language models have understood the actual task and can ask you questions. Final one is called chain of density. The context behind this is that the more times ChatGPT goes through a particular task, the better it gets at doing it. So you iteratively call the ChatGPT multiple times, do the same task again and again to make it better at the result. So in this example, I'd like to focus on this part, which is you will generate increasingly concise, entity-dense summaries of the above article. Repeat the following 2 steps 5 times. So it will repeat the steps several times and it will get the answer to be more accurate. This chain of density is a phenomenal way to get ChatGPT to improve itself recursively. Right, so all in all, AI has been a phenomenal help for me. It has done a great job for me in every context, in every part of my work, in my business, and with friends and family as well. But the one part which I see being the biggest time saver is when we start to use OpenAI's API for initial content research and then create long form content. We learned that actually the API usage of OpenAI, which is a application programming interface or a tool to be able to take the functionality of OpenAI and then put it directly into our tools. That has been the best use case of OpenAI so far, and now we're building multiple tools which we raise money recently as well. Well, that's it for this session of how AI can practically be used within your own workflow to make you more efficient, to make sure you are what we call AI first, have AI first mindset. I hope these practical tools and the case studies of AI are useful. A big part of this is to actually go out and experiment with these tools. The more you use them in your business, in your life, in your work, the more you will find the use cases for yourself. This is just the tip of the iceberg as more and more tools get developed in the coming months and years. I encourage you to think about the AI first mindset, which is basically how can you first get the task done through AI and only then bring in human intervention. Also, want to remind you that with AI, you require human in the loop at all times. That means that before, during, and after, you need human intervention to make your tool and to get the content, for example, better. In a recent experiment, almost every time the human created content, human augmented content with AI did a better job than AI only content. It shows that AI requires human beings to do their part to make AI more effective and more useful. I wish you a lot of success with this journey, and I hope you find a great use case for AI in your business and in your work. If there's any way I can help you out, please reach out to me via LinkedIn or through goodmanlantin.com. And I wish you a lot of success with your journey, and I look forward to connecting with you very soon, either through our interaction on LinkedIn or through YouTube as well. Thank you very much.